Today's video comes to you in 3 parts, I think. The first part today is going to be a little bit of housekeeping, because you brought up a couple of good questions. First part, the time limit. I think that's a really good idea because you and I are both really very wordy people and we talk a lot. I don't really particularly want to do 4 minutes either, considering that seems really short to me. Your first video was like 6, so was mine, and then we kind of hit around like 7:30 and 8 minutes and some change. So I think if we split the difference and call it 7 minutes, that would probably work for the both of us. As for the second thing, which was video responses, right? I think this is probably the best place to do that. I know I never use my other YouTube account for anything other than text comments, so probably Dear Biffle would be the best place to do some video responses to cool people like Jonathan Green. Part 2, a little bit of explanation about the Doctor Who thing. I was originally going to talk about gender studies with the Doctor, or how even an awesome show can fail the Bechdel test. Honestly, I'm too excited about the new series, and it's too awesome for me right now to say bad things about the series as a whole. So now I have all these other ideas, like, the rise and fall of Donna Noble, Who's Who in Doctor Who, Identity in a Regenerative World, blah blah blah, all sorts of things. So I'm probably going to film like at least 4 of them and post them as like a little side series, like Dear Biffle talks about Doctor Who, or something like that. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Right now I'm going to bring you to part 3, which is the first of those videos. Now, a little disclaimer for anybody who kind of stumbles across this on YouTube and doesn't actually know me. I am a fangirl in the best sense of that word, in that I think we could safely say obsess about books and movies and television shows. And I take them and I think about them. So I kind of wanted to talk about the 2 things that I'm watching over and over and over, and those are the 11th Hour, the first episode of Series 5 of New Who, and to be honest, I'm a little bit embarrassed about this one, New Moon. So I'm currently thinking about those 2 things in particular, Doctor Who and the Twilight Saga, and I sort of wanted to think about them in relation to each other. And also, there's some interesting parallels that can be made between the Doctor and Edward Cullen. First off, let me just say that I'm about to say really bad things about Twilight. This does not mean that I don't love Twilight, because I do. I can't stop reading it. So let's talk about the reasons that I continue to watch and read Twilight. I know that part of the reason I continue to watch the movies is because I love Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner. I think they're wonderful, and they both have wonderful hair. But as far as reading the books goes, I think most of the time I'm cataloging my own sort of reactions to the book and freaking out a little bit, because I honestly care about Bella Swan, even though I absolutely despise her, and Edward Cullen, even though he totally creeps me out. And I find it sort of interesting to pay attention to. I have a myriad of problems with Twilight, and I could make an entire video about my problems with Twilight, and I probably will one of these days. But right now I'm just going to throw a couple of them out there. The teen suicide angle that's going on with Bella wanting to be a vampire before she's 18, the idea that all women want babies and that's all that they're good for, the character rape of Jacob Black, in which he goes from the one dude in the entire books, besides Charlie, that I actually like and care about, to a complete and utter asshole who kisses girls without their permission. Who has 2 thumbs and loves Jacob Black? This guy right here. And then there's Doctor Who. I love absolutely everything about Doctor Who. There is no point in which I'm watching Doctor Who where I'm actually thinking about myself. I care about what's going on my screen. I care whether the Doctor is going to save the day. I care about the emotional life of the Doctor and his companions. And that's a big difference. I'm really interested in Twilight because I'm sort of appalled by it. And I'm really interested in Doctor Who because I think it's wonderful. So there's some big differences there. Now let me get into the comparisons that can be drawn between the Doctor and Edward Cullen, because I've only got 2 minutes left. They're both very long-lived with special powers who basically take girls away from their friends and family and isolate them with themselves. They're both very, very lonely. But the thing is, the Doctor is better than Edward Cullen, and I'll tell you why. Edward Cullen helps Bella ostensibly because he loves her, but it is a very selfish kind of a love. And I would argue that the Doctor loves all of his companions as well in very different ways throughout the years. But he helps them not to love him better or to become his wife or to bear his really weird vampire human hybrid child who's going to bite their way out of his companion's womb. Just saying. Ick. Instead, he helps them to learn to be better people, to care about other beings, and to do the right thing when it is required. And the Doctor's greatest character trait, both asset and liability, is that he cares about absolutely everything in creation, aside from himself. And I think that's flipping amazing. So if you want a really immersive storyline that will capture your imagination and do so using characters that are actually really good people, then you should be watching Doctor Who, not reading Twilight. So that's me for the day. I've got a couple more things working for the future, and Stacey, why don't you take two things that you would not normally compare and compare them, whether they're media or music or something else. Just do a little compare and contrast, and that would be really cool. So best wishes!